Hey guys, what's up? Today I'm going to be doing a movie review for the new film that came out a week ago that I saw, and it's called An Education. And this is written by Nick Hornby, who is a wonderful writer, who is one of those guys who's very witty in his comedy and he's very sharp, but he's taking normal people and kind of writing stories about them where he's giving them kind of a slice of life, giving them a learning experience. And usually his scripts are very moving and just really smart and fresh. And that's what I love so much about A Boy, which he wrote. And I just love that movie. But this is his new movie, and it stars some really, really great people. Carey Mulligan, who's the main character, the protagonist, Jenny, and she is a revelation. She is wonderful in this movie, and she is the reason to see it, and I'll talk about her later. But this also stars Peter Sarsgaard, who I love. I think he is wonderful and underrated, and I think, I love everything that he's in. I love him in everything. And Alfred Molina, who I also love, and he does a really great job in this movie. So as you can see, the acting is wonderful in this movie. So I'm going to talk about that because that is the high point of the movie. Carey Mulligan is wonderful in this movie. She plays a teenage girl who's 16 years old at the beginning, Ginny, and she's very, very smart. She's trying to get into Oxford. She lives a pretty rigid, very restrictive life, and pretty much all she does is study all the time because she wants to get a good education and have a fruitful life. And so she really doesn't have any experience with, the fun side of life. She's never really had any boyfriends or anything like that. But she meets this guy, and he's older. He's about 30, and this is Peter Sarsgaard. And he is really taken by her, and she's really taken by him because he's very suave and very charming. And so they go out on a date, and he takes her to, he's very cultured, and he takes her to a classical concert, and he takes her to, out to dinner at a fancy restaurant and to dance and all of this. And he just, he's very experienced, and he knows a lot about life. And, well, I guess maybe not a lot about life, but he's very experienced, and he just knows kind of the good side of life. He knows how to enjoy himself, which is something that she just doesn't know how to do. And so after this one date, she's just had the best day of her life and has had a whole new experience with life. Before, life to her was just, working hard and doing just all the time, doing as much as you can to try to succeed in life. And now she was kind of taking life as it comes and enjoying, being exhilarated by it for once. And so this becomes a really big deal because, she really likes this guy played by Peter Sarsgaard, and, she starts to go out with him, and they go in a relationship. And this is kind of where the Nick Hornby style script the style of Nick Hornby comes in, because it's all about her learning from maybe some mistakes and just kind of learning about life through this relationship that she has, because the guy that she's going out with turns out to be not who she thinks he is, which is very predictable, obviously. But yeah, so that's pretty much the story. And Carey Mulligan is so wonderful in it because she plays with such an innocence, yet at the same time, she's very wise. And she's, as I said, she's a 16-year-old who's very smart. She's naive, but she's got a lot of wit. She's sarcastic a lot of the time. She's funny. And she kind of comes off as a very average girl who's not average, but kind of your girl next door, who may appear to be ordinary, but there's a lot more to her. And that's what she brings to the performance, because she's able to bring out all the wit and comedic timing of Nick Hornby's script, but she plays it with such realism, and you really do feel for her all through the movie. And I'm not going to say anything yet because, I haven't seen all the movies so far this year, but if I had to make my choice for Best Actress so far this year for the Academy Awards, she is a shoo-in for me. I think she's really great. I think she's an up-and-coming star if I've ever seen one. And as I said, Peter Sarsgaard is great too. This isn't his best performance, but I really do like him in this. He is charming, even though he's not, he's no James Bond or anything like that. There's something about him that is so compelling. He's got these he's got very subtle acting. His gestures aren't, flamboyant. He's not dramatic at all. He plays everything very real, which is, crucial in a Nick Hornby script. But he is wonderful in this movie because his eyes say so much. He can say so much with his eyes, which is maybe the hardest thing for an actor to do. And Alfred Molina is wonderful in this too, as the father who's just very protective of his daughter. And I think that Alfred Molina might get a nomination for this as well, for supporting actor. So, as you can tell, I really liked the acting. Now, I'm going to talk about some problems that I had with the movie. I loved this movie for the first hour. I thought it was great. And then it got less great. Because then it became just sort of one of those learning movies, those things about, well, I will learn from my mistakes and everything will be perfect in my second chance and all of that. And I think this movie took it a little too far. It was a little bit predictable, and normally I don't really mind that if it's good enough, but I don't want to go into it because this is a non-spoiler review, but there are some things later on that are just really hokey and very sappy, and I was just like, I just didn't really like the fact that you were able to see all of the different elements trying to bring the plot to a close, bringing it together. And normally, I don't have a problem with that with Nick Hornby. I think that he's able to wind things up beautifully and, make you think about the movies afterwards. And this one, I felt like it started out wonderfully, and it just kind of had a decrescendo towards the end of it. And especially at the end, it just became really cliche. At the end, you know that it's going to get cliche when the main character does a voiceover to sum up their life experiences, if you will. And that's what I had a problem with that. So, as I said, I really like this movie. I really do. I mean, there was a lot to like, but then it lost it. It ran out of gas completely, and it just became stereotypical. And I've had a lot of problems. I've been saying that a lot lately, but I can't help it. That's just what I have seen lately in a lot of the movies. But I do think you should see this movie because Mulligan is just so wonderful, and the acting is really good. And maybe for the first half, I would say see this movie just for the first half. And then towards the end, I probably just tune out. If I were to rent this movie, I would watch it and then up to a point and then just turn it off. Because it's too good to kind of think about the ending, which was kind of ruined. So that's pretty much what I have to say about it. I was a little disappointed, but not in the first half. And see it for her. She's wonderful. So yeah, that's all I gotta say. So until next time.